This is my daytime job here. Scrap metal business. Been doing it for roughly 32 years. Funnest part of my job, 4 o'clock going home.
But at night, I have a whole other life. I play Peter Criss in a Kiss tribute band.
Okay, you guys, here we go. You hold it right there now, okay? Yeah.
What he's going to do to make his guitar smoke is he's going to pull a switch on his guitar, and that's going to activate a couple of batteries, which has like an igniter. It should smoke pretty good.
Now that's the pose we're going to do for the smoke?
Yeah. Yeah, spread those legs and lean back, and you got it. There you go, bud.
Here it goes.
Didn't light.
And with tributes, like, you have to be dead on. You have to look like them. You have to sound like them. You have to become them. Because one mistake, one flaw, it will not work.
Here, he's one of his players.
It's hooked up.
Did you bend the wires to make them thick so they made contact with the electrode?
You know what? I didn't do that.
Aha!
Fucking screwdriver.
Yeah!
Ready?
We could go.
Okay.
Breathe fire next door.
Let's go.
Don't look at it. Shoot it, man. Don't move. Don't move. Don't look at it.
Personally, I think most of the tribute acts out there that I've seen and heard of are a fucking joke. They're just a bunch of guys that put on shoes and makeup, don't pay any attention at all to the music, to the important details of what a true Kiss show is. They're just more interested in going, hey, look at me, I'm a white guy with fluffy hair, I'm Paul Stanley.
Hold it, hold it, hold it, same thing. Okay, cool.
I'd like to basically recreate the Kiss show as close as possible. I mean, right down to the costumes and, you know, the sound of it, the energy. I mean, I think Kiss probably was the greatest band there ever was and ever will be.
Over to your left again, guys.
My name's Val Popovic. I play lead guitar, ace, in the Kiss tribute band Larger Than Life.
And I'm this guy right down here. My name's Jimmy Knoll. I play the Peter Criss in Larger Than Life. Right there, look at that.
I'm crazy about a nightlife.
I played in a band called Villain. We went on to record a demo and it got picked up by an independent label. Then they fired me. So I went through
Thanks, but no
downward
thanks.
spiral and I just stopped playing rock for a while.
Before the Kiss tribute band started, we were in a band called Big Money, and it was like 8 or 10 months of wasted time.
And then one day I came home and I opened up the Valley Music News and there was this ad in there for, it said, Kiss tribute band wants to unleash its massive stage show on the West Coast. And then Andy goes, what'd you think about shaving the goatee off? And I'm all, well, yeah, you know.
Hard it comes off.
And then I was in the band.
Not much of an artist.
Me and Jimmy are actually new at doing this.
Yeah, this is like my 3rd time. I can't even draw stick people right. You know, that's pretty bad.
I get one side close and then I go to quality control, Andy, and see if he thinks it's okay, and then I'll start to draw the other side. QT.
Let's go.
Is that too far out?
Let's go. I think that one might be wide.
So narrow this one, come down lower. Okay.
Go this way more? Oh.
Like that.
Just go up higher. But yeah, just a little more. I can do that. Thanks.
You know what? I think the bottom
You just went out more too.
Andy was just there the whole time, helping us put on our makeup, everything. You know, the very first time we put on our makeup together, Andy was there.
Takes a lot of time, but it's worth it. Once we start getting the hang of it a little better.
Andy can do it in a half hour.
Yeah, I can do it like 25 minutes. My record is 15.
15 minutes?
Yeah, we were gonna be late for the show.
Oh, wow.
Good. One more, a little closer.
I think that Andy was born to do this role. You know, and he really grasped the character of Gene, and he becomes the character.
Jimmy, up.
They're doing a cover shot.
Gene, you're gonna. Andy.
But becoming that character, that's what I wanted to strive to do. I wanted to be like Ace, more like how Andy was with Gene.
Head back just a little bit, right there, yeah.
Money. We don't have any. We need some.
Probably making the $5 grand a night gigs.
Or startup cash.
Yeah.
As long as you got some startup cash, you can do anything.
That's why we're doing the photo shoot right now, and then shop it to clubs and agencies and see who bites.
I think as soon as we get this promo pack done and set up the way we want it to be, the floodgates will open.
The first gig was insane.
The club is packed, 600 people.
But they treated you like you were kids.
Yeah, it was
and that was a trip. That's what I miss from bands like being in Big Money, or I lost that inner feeling when people like what you do. I mean, you walk out there and you are like larger than life, you know? You do something silly like an Ace gesture, like a thumbs up, and they just go, yeah! And that's what was so neat about being Kiss. Everyone was just like, man, we gotta do another show. We gotta do another show.
Well, it's you have to look at what it's about, because when you're doing a tribute band, you basically have to become somebody else. So you kind of lose, you know, you have to keep it together and not lose touch with yourself, kind of deal. And there's a lot of, I mean, I pretty much know of every member in every tribute, and I kind of have an idea what they're like. And I know some of the other Genes out there that they have trouble, you know, discerning between themselves and the character they're playing, and they tend to turn into pretty much an asshole. You know, and I'm not going to name names, but that's probably one of the hardest parts. But what was the question again?
I used to fantasize a lot about just being on a stage and having a ton of people flipping out over me and my band. But you know, in a strange little sort of way, I always dreamed about having like the Jeff Richards band. You know what I mean? Not that my name is anything that would have been a great band name, but in general, just a band where I kind of took the spotlight.
Give me a whiff and give me a high. I'd love to make a living playing guitar. I'm not talking about big record deals and all that stuff, but it's a lot more fun than doing this, without a doubt, you know?
When I was young, probably my first performance in front of a large audience was in high school. There was a high school variety show, and the blistering loud rush of energy that I got from it that made me actually say, this is something I'm going to be doing for a long time, and I guess it might have been the start of an addiction.
There'd be like an introduction for that, and then we can go like 3 songs. There's not going to be any bullshit. It's going to be introductions, and that's it. You know what I mean? It's not going to be, you know, whose birthday is it tonight and all this shit, because I'm not going to do that anymore. When Priest played at the Pepsi Arena, Halford didn't say, hey, it's Jody's birthday over here. She's 25 years old tonight. The band is probably about as close as you could get to Judas Priest on a low budget. And some people come to our show and they really think that I'm Rob Halford. Mark Luther.
Who's that? He's the guy that comes from Vermont or something like that, or?
No, he lives in Mechanicville.
Oh, is he?
He's like disgruntled mailman.
I've been working in Mechanicville for 6 years. My co-workers like to refer to me as the heavy metal mailman, which is fine with me.
He's the heavy metal mailman. This guy's like seen Priest on the British Steel tour. He's seen all kinds of tours, man.
Yeah, but he sees us every time we play, and he's one of the moshers.
I like to consider myself a metalhead. A 38-year-old metalhead. Hi, Colleen. I'm gonna get bit. You can get that on tape. I don't carry this for show. If it wasn't for tribute bands, we'd be forgetting. Well, I wouldn't forget, but there would be a lot of people who forget about, you know, heavy metal in particular. If it wasn't for bands like Bloodstone, that brings back the you know, the faith in the old metal.
This is pretty much it every day, pretty much the same thing. This building's almost done. We'll go off and start another one in another week, right from the ground up. Most of the time I just don't want to get up and get here in the morning. That's the only problem. You know? Not my life's ambition, I'll tell you that. Because, I mean, I'm 30 years old and I'm doing construction work. I probably, if I wasn't in a band, I probably would have been married by now, you know, with some kids, because I definitely want to be married with kids sooner or later.
All right, here's the deal.
Okay.
The late Janine Maxwell,
Yeah.
AAA Entertainment, the lady I've been trying to get us booking with. Well, she calls me.
9:55.
She calls me tonight and says, Jeff, I have some bad news for you. She goes, yeah, you know how your Club 155 show was next week? I said, yeah. She goes, we had to cancel it. I go, why? Because you back-to-back 2 shows.
You gonna do it yourself? Yeah, you got chocolate all over you.
So anyway, this you know, it'll be nice to get a Metro. We'll get a Metroland tonight, and we'll see that our name is in to play 2 gigs when we're only booked for 1. It changes when you get married. You don't realize you don't have as much time, and if you have kids like I do, it takes time away from it. I'd be happier with I'd be happier without a booking agent and be a. Oh man.
Oh, did she do that? All right, get up.
You want a drink instead? Boy, am I glad I'm a happy-go-lucky guy.
There isn't anymore.
The idea that my job would be to just make music and entertain, it's so appealing. I just haven't figured out how to. It's sometimes frustrating because I haven't figured out what it takes to do that, what it takes to get to that point. Back this way is the used tire room. This is where I inspect them and put them out for sale. Anything good comes in here, anything bad out the door. These have all been looked over to hopefully provide customers with a low-budget tire We also sell new tires. They're available for people if they need them. In here is where I do repair work. Basically anything that I got that comes in that's in need of a repair, perhaps a plug or a nail, which I found inside of this tire, can quickly be repaired using the latest technology and modern science. In order to do that, all I have to do is open it, and I've got ample room to work on it. This is a little stubborn. This is a primary example of me having to do what I really don't want to do. It's like I've lived my life, most of my life, just doing things for the sake of what can Rich get out of it. This is something that I can't stand, but I know that it's got to be done. So a friend of mine who was into Buddhism actually told me that when you do stuff that you don't want to do, just do it. Just don't think about anything else but what you're doing. And that sometimes helps me get through my days of this until it's, you know, lights out and rock and roll.
My greatest aspiration was to be a Major League Baseball player, but those dreams fell short. How many people do you know are doing what they actually like? How many that I know?
When I started doing tribute bands and booking tribute bands, I started an office in this third room of the house I have here. And if you look around, you can see a lot of the things that I've acquired over the years of doing tribute bands. Celebrities I've met, and in some cases the people I'm impersonating, which has always been kind of cool. To meet my counterpart, Davy Jones, and him being supportive of it, and he was very supportive of it, was always a thrill for me. There's me up here getting drunk with Harry Nielsen. The Four Tops, the Everly Brothers was a big thrill for me. Over here is one of my favorite pictures. I'm a bit pasty there, it's before my makeup, with George Harrison's sister in my George Harrison costume. And she's a big fan of the group, Backbeat, my Beatles group.
From the Hard Day's Night film, featuring myself and Ringo, because I'm happy just to dance with you.
I found when putting my Beatles tribute band together, I really wanted people that looked and sounded and acted like the Beatle they played. So that was also my idea behind doing a Monkees group. We had the exuberance and the comedy and the music as well.
Missing Links were formed in late 1994 as a result of myself and another member, Danny Lopez, dreaming up the idea of doing a Monkees tribute band. This is Danny Lopez, who played Davy Jones. And this is me, Chuck Harder, who played Mike Nesmith. When we first got together, Dan and I, my God, we would be talking on the phone about, you know, getting adjoining farms in Nebraska in 2 years and, you know, just all the way.
People, and I especially suspect this is going to be true in the millennium, want to laugh. These are dark times. And I think the thing that's going to really pull them out of those dark times is laughter.
Our appearance on The Tonight Show, the Jay Leno Show, was probably our biggest exposure, you could say.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have a special section of our audience we call Get a Life. There they are.
For me, the most sorrowful thing about the conflicts between the members of the Missing Links was the fact that I feel, in retrospect, that almost everything could have been worked out.
Hi, Susie. This is Kim. We have a problem with Palladino's for New Year's. He's trying to get out of the contract because the Monkey Show got canceled, which we explained to him was an act of God. Gave him 3 bands for the price of 1, and he's still bitching about it. This is a 911 call.
Because of some personality quirks, Chuck Harder and TJ are no longer members of the Missing Links.
We, like real life, had a lot of problems, like the Real Monkeys did.
Just tense and you know, if the slightest thing or somebody said something, well, look, you know, you were a little off on Pleasant Valley Sunday. What do you mean? You know, fuck you, man. I played longer than you. And after a while, we didn't even rehearse anymore. Dan's the real reason the Missing Links went down.
I used to be in the Monkeys, and I graduated to the Beatles.
Because he was in the Beatle group at the same time, and he would book our gigs, and eventually he would book our gigs, cancel our gigs, and put his Beatle group in. Now that's not cool.
It's great. I mean, we played all over the world. We've been to Tokyo and Europe and South America and here all over the States.
Because Dan was my best friend, and I no longer talk to him because he knew what it meant to me, and he lied and he screwed the group. And then when the final straw was missing the 4 gigs in 1 month, I said, "Fuck this! I'm going to hit him. I'm going to break the guitar over his head on stage." And I finally just said, I can't do this anymore. I have to quit basically my own group, or the group that Dan and I formed.
And so I, as the group leader and as the person who put it together, had to determine who could be worked with and who couldn't be worked with. And I eventually got to a point where I had to tell some people that they weren't going to be able to be working on the project.
Both individuals are such strong personalities that they would rather self-destruct than see the other one succeed.
I didn't pick a guitar up for at least a year and a half. A lot of tears, a lot of meditating.
I think that he does still have rock and roll dreams that have not been realized. And I think that until he actually reaches that, he's not going to be really happy.
My name is Mark, and I am called Superfan amongst my fellow Queen fans. I'm called Superfan because consistently I listen to more Queen songs, more Queen albums, I think, than anybody in the country. Here's the old vinyl collection. What I kind of do, this is a little sacred spot. Sometimes I have incense, other times I'll have candles. This is my little shrine to Queen. We also have a Freddie Mercury clock, and I'm proud to say I flew all the way to Italy for that clock. For that very reason, I'm very proud of my little Queen shrine. Not everybody understands it. Well, the reason for Queen being so important in my life is that they symbolize so much confidence and so much force. I latched on to Queen when I was a young kid, 12 years old, right as I was heading into my teenage years. A time when I wasn't the happiest of guys, living up in a small town, far away from a city. It basically had everything that I wanted, but wasn't able to achieve. Their last American tour was 1982, and I chose not to go to Queen in 1982 for the Hot Space Tour. So to this day, I regret that decision. I've seen Elton John on 6 world tours. I've seen Queen on 0 world tours. I have to live vicariously through Queen videos, and at this point in time, a Queen tribute band called Sheer Heart Attack.
I thought these days were over. Yeah.
I'm Jeffrey Shapiro. I play drums in the Queen tribute band Sheer Heart Attack. I started this tribute band out of well, I just liked Queen so much.
Well, Sheer Heart Attack fans are great because they're just like the 5 of us in the band. We're all just Queen fans, and it's almost, I don't want to say a cult because there's nothing evil or nasty about it. We don't think a UFO is going to come with God and Freddie Mercury in it, but
my whole approach with Sheer Heart Attack, with Queen, Freddie, that whole thing. Looking in the mirror, it's like, look, you look nothing like Freddie Mercury unless you go ahead and go get some plastic surgery done and get some little false teeth. If you really, really want to do that. And I thought, look, the man's gone. There's never going to be anybody like him. And like I said, we're just a bunch of Queen fans, Queen fanatics, Queen nerds, just having a ball and come along. Let's have a good time. Join the party. You know, sing along.
Well, there's always a ritual for a big Queen fan like me. I'm a super fan, and the band knows me as super fan. And usually the day of the show, nerves set in, and it's very strange. Being in the audience, there's no reason for that. I think the nerves set in because I realize I'm going to see Queen. I've got a lot of shirts to choose from. They're all Queen, of course, or Brian May related. I got Hot Space. I've got an important Freddie Mercury shirt, very rare, actually out of print. Sheer Heart Attack. I support these guys till the end of the earth. I've seen 50 plus shows. This will be the shirt that's upon me tonight. Best friend in the whole world, concert buddy, how are you? I am definitely alive. I'm ready to go, and I'm expecting to see you with several other people here at my apartment by 5:30 today. And we want to get out in a timely basis. You know how agitated and overexcited I get on Sheer Heart Attack Brian May days, and this is one of them. Yeah, I mean, I'm doing great. I haven't eaten anything as customary on show days. Nerves are kicking in. Restless sleep last night. See you in a couple hours. Bye-bye.
One thing that Queen fans really appreciate is the attention to detail. But I'm afraid they're going to have to forgive me this time around. Packing, I forgot to pack the ballet shoes. Like I say, I'm sure that they'll be okay.
All right, we're ready.
The line.
The line. Oh, there's Catherine.
That's right.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There you are, sir. Enjoy the show. At this point, I'm just experiencing anxiety, a lot of anticipation and excitement. As the biggest fan in Los Angeles, I feel completely personally responsible that this show is a sellout. Everybody has a great time, and the band wants to come back next week.
Oh my God.
Please welcome Sheer Heart Attack.
Once the show hits, once they hit that first song, once I can start singing from the audience, once I've got bodies pressed up against me that are all Queen fans and they're all friendly bodies, I feel good. I feel relaxed. I feel in my element. Enrique has blessed, in my opinion, Sheer Heart Attack, and without his vocals, I think the band would not be as successful. When he performs with Sheer Heart Attack, I really don't see much of a difference between the band Queen and the band Sheer Heart Attack.
All right. Whew, we are Sheer Heart Attack, a road tribute to Queen, in case you haven't noticed.
Too much German food. Can't fit in my pants.
And, well, we're not quite ready yet at the moment. How'd you guys like that Queen video? Wasn't that cool?
There's a shoehorn when you need one.
Jeffrey? I think we're just about ready to go here.
Hit it! Hit it!
All right, here we go. Hit it.
Some of my best images of Queen are the massive stadium and concert tours, and I think that just fires me up. It's part of a chemistry that all Queen fans share, whether you live in Bosnia, whether you live in Scotland or England or the United States. We're all in it together, regardless of politics. It's always been about the music. It always will be about the music. It was like a communal experience. You know, some people go to church for that. They feel great about God or something. And I go to feel great about the music at the clubs.
I had auditioned for the German production of Cats in Hamburg, Germany. The day after Christmas, there's a message from Cats Hamburg saying they want to offer me a contract. I think I called up Jeffrey first. I called him up over the phone. I said, well, this is the deal.
You know, this is great. I'm glad for you. I know we're not going to be able to replace you. We'll try it. And how long is the run for? And he said, it's indefinite at this point. And, you know, then I started getting a little concerned.
Of course, their response was, no, you can't go. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink, you know. Well, of course, you got to do whatever you got to do, but we don't want you to go.
And tears were streaming down my face. I'm going, you big pansy. And I just couldn't help it. I was like, this is it. This is over.
And I also told them, look, I'm going to be away for at least a year, maybe longer. You may want to start looking for somebody else.
For Sheer Heart Attack, the future of Sheer Heart Attack is very uncertain.
Being the biggest Sheer Heart Attack fan, it's difficult to imagine that they're not even able to get a show necessarily once a year. And it really all ties to the lead singer. Enrique's in Germany doing fantastic things. The only problem with that is there's a city called Los Angeles with myself and 500 other people that rely on this band. Sheer Heart Attack is so vital. No matter how bad my life or how bad the weeks were, I knew I had a Sheer Heart Attack show to go to and to attend, and it was the greatest thing in the world. You take that element away where you have one show a year, and you take away a part of somebody's life. Friends don't get together as much. You communicate rarely through the telephone. Some people are communicating through computers, but you don't have that communal experience to go to. You can't feel happy. You can't get happy just right away. Let's go, come on. Let's go. Jesus. Sorry, I'm half Italian there. Emotion in me kicks in. I just drive too much in the city. I would just tell Enrique that now that you have your European theater work on paper, that should give him more leverage to be able to do things on Broadway here in the United States. And I would encourage him to really, really, really pursue those interests here in the United States. Even if he were on tour with a production, he could still fly at some point to Los Angeles for a show. We wouldn't be going 8 or 9 months for that. We got to get him a girlfriend out here, give him a reason to come back to Los Angeles. That's going to be the only way. Some woman will have to work her way into his heart. Sheer Heart Attack is starting to give me an ulcer. They are in the process of trying to find another singer, somebody that's not going to move to Germany forever and ever.
Well, tonight Sheer Heart Attack is getting together to work with a new singer.
Like now, this is the right way. Here we got it.
He contacted us probably at the worst possible time, which is right the same week that Victor moved to Florida. Looks like we probably will be in the market for a bass player as well, because Doug's gotten very busy with his original band, and he told me just a couple of days ago that it doesn't look like he'll be able to do this thing full time.
No, we started feeding back. Watch out for there's no slack. We're hoping that Scott sings like Freddie Mercury, but we're hoping he has the emotion that Enrique had, because we're satisfying that hole, that need, that void of a Queen that they don't get. But to do what we're doing, there's nobody doing it. So, and these people were just so diehard of fans. We'll have to figure out what we're doing. We don't know what we're doing.
Yeah, we got to figure out a keyboard player, a bass player.
And
how'd it feel?
It felt good to me.
Yeah.
Well, so we'll be in touch with you. I'm going home to get some sleep.
Yeah. All right.
Good. You be a good boy too. We'll see you later.
Nice to meet you, man. Nice to meet you, buddy. Talk to you later. Bye, bye, guys. Hello.
Okay. So, pal.
Well, the guy, he shakes when he sings. This is okay. I understand that, but he's doing it a lot. There's a bit of posturing, and he's a big boy.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, I got a stomach, but I'm sitting down in the bag. I'm afraid, I don't know about seeing this boy in a tutu. So, I mean, I don't know. I
don't think he'll have as much finesse on stage as Enrique.
Yeah, like I said, I was afraid we were going to compare him to Enrique, and I didn't know I have to.
Well, we have to, yeah.
I have to.
I was hoping he'd be just like a lot better singer, so at least that would cover it.
Yeah, he wasn't as powerful as I thought he was going to be. I don't know. We can kick it around. I wouldn't call him right away. Let him call you.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to say anything bad to him yet. I mean, he does have potential, but I don't want somebody with potential. I mean, do you? I want somebody who's got it now. I mean, hell, I'm 4 years old.
Yeah, because potential means we're like rehearsing weekly and like trying to put it together again.
Right, that's not what this band's about. No. This is learn the songs we rehearse for the shows. Right. All right, I'm going.
Okay.
I go home.
See ya.
Good boy.
See
you
as
later.
always.
I think that there's a 50% chance we may not see Sheer Heart Attack again. I feel that if you have a singer that is not in this country and is not coming to the United States at least once a year to maintain a show, you lose people, you lose other interested parties, and inevitably you break up a band.
There we go. Oh, yeah. Good. Oh, great.
Our world ended when Andy. I was just like, I got a phone call from Jay saying there's like fire engines in front of Andy's house.
My wife had to go to work that night. We lived across the street from Andy. She calls me over at the babysitter's house and goes, "Oh my God, it's chaos out here." I'm like, "What? You know, grassy knoll? What? What's going on?" She says, "The fire department's here. Ambulance is here. Patchy's house is on fire. He jumped through the window. You know, he's all cut up. He's all jacked up." I go, "What?"
And then he found out what was going on, and I was just like, this can't happen, you know?
What I found out when I got there, they were telling me, "We think he might have fell asleep while smoking, this and this and that." And there was a cop inside the building, and he leaned out and said, "No, these fires were set deliberately." And I said, "Are you sure?" He goes, "Man, there was a fire lit in every one of these rooms."
And an ambulance took Andy away. I'm like, oh my God, you know, is he dead? That's the first thing that goes through your mind. Is he dead? Then, you know, you find out he's not dead. And then you think, okay, well, what happened?
And then later on we found out that Patchy was hearing things.
Said all kinds of stuff, like he thinks that Kiss is evil now. It just upset.
He says, "I don't even listen to Kiss anymore. I don't even like Kiss anymore."
And to hear that from Patchy, here's a guy who lived across the street from me, who I shared the stage with, totally Gene Simmons on stage. But now, cuckoo.
And then you hear the stories from, well, the grandfather thinks this, and Andy became too much the Gene character, took over his life.
Some guys who I've met start to believe that, you know, they're the character or whatever. And Andy was one of those guys. He did that in Fantasyland. And I think he got sucked up by his ego. He gets sucked into all that crap, and everybody telling him he looks like Gene Simmons and everything. He really started to believe it. But then you got to come back down to reality when he goes home. And, you know, I may be Gene Simmons, but, you know, in his mind, but his old lady's going to take out the fucking garbage.
It's kind of hard because, you know, you start to feel, in a way, torn, you know, between, you have to feel for Andy, what he's going through, but then at the same time, you're totally hurt, devastated. I can't explain how I felt. I was just like, you have the whole world in your hands, you think that there's nothing but smooth sailing ahead, and then boom. I don't know how to say it. It's like, it'll be totally weird being without Andy there.
Yeah.
Finally here in Modesto to audition for Larger Than Life. But many things are larger than life.
Hey, what's happening, dude?
Jonathan. How far are you from Antelope?
Antelope, probably about...
What's up, Hollywood?
I'm gonna try to find someone to let this dream of mine not end. If this guy works out, hopefully Andy will let us use his costume. If Andy would ever come back, I mean, to me the door would always be open, you know, for him, since he started it.
About the moves and stuff. We really want to
yeah, but the thing is, it's been 4 years for me, so I gotta warm up to you.
Just play as a bass player. Just play. That's what we want to do. Really listening. No, I mean, you don't got to jump around and everything else. Just play.
I do, because we're gonna have a show in a month and a half.
Sure, but I'm listening to you musically. Is what we're trying to hear each other musically. So that's what I'm saying. We're gonna do all that stuff later.
Yeah, but okay, just ignore me then.
No, I want to. Don't worry too much about that. I know you can throw down, dude. Jay. Yeah, don't worry about it, man. I know you can throw down. What I'm saying is, we're just musically, we're trying to hear each other.
But playing myself isn't the problem. It's just remember the nuances.
Well, none of us have played together in a while either, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's
musically
like 4
trying
years,
to.
that's 1,200 days.
I understand. Just musically, let's just play music. Don't worry too much about it. Jimmy?
guys want to do next? Or let's take a break. Let's just take a short break.
So we'll take a short recess.
Yeah, just for a second.
I could care less about the jumping around and all that shit. But there's time and place to be a musician, and he ain't being one. He became Captain Animated. There ain't no maybe to it. Singing like that, that motherfucker's terrible.
Like when we rehearsed with Andy, everything was structured.
I can already tell with most cats, you got to listen to yourself. You know, musically, that's what separation's about. You got to listen to them drums, you got to listen to that guitar, you got to listen to that other guitar, and listen to that bass. This guy is not listening to himself at all. He's definitely not following Jimmy because I was listening to his bass lines, and he's following himself. He was singing his notes all off key. The vocals were just terrible. He's up here and all this bullshit. He ain't got his shit together. Man, he sucks.
I know, it's just a letdown. This is hard.
What's that?
I don't know, just telling people, you know, they don't, it's not working. It's not, you know.
Well, no wonder we're standing here doing this crap. We've been pussies all our lives, man.
Well, no, I'm not saying that. I'm just
a little harder, we might be where we really want to be. You know? I'm ready to put the pedal to the metal, either get this thing going or, you know, I need to move on. That guy sucked. That guy sucked.
No, let's just call it.
A year ago, if you'd have told me that a year later I would be looking like this, growing my sideburns back and heading over for this very thing, I would have said, you crazy, honky, no way. But funny how life turns around. We are going over to the apartment of Ches Monroe. Ches Monroe being the, I guess, the Davy character, although we're not specifically going to imitate the Monkees, but he will be the cute one with a haircut.
Chuck goes, well, let's do a 60s group. You know, let's just cover 60s songs. And I was like, well, yeah, that sounds great. I love 60s music. That sounds great. Chuck started saying, well, let's do this Monkey song here. I said, okay. Before you know it, he's adding more Monkey songs. And I think his agenda was to put back the Missing Links together with me and Mark.
I'm very optimistic. I think both guys are good people. They're talented and into this, and they want to, you know, play some good music and entertain people and do this tribute band thing for all the right reasons.
He comes in one day with the monkey shirts, you know. He's like, okay, we're going to wear these. And I was kind of like, what is happening here? And all of a sudden, I'm Davy Jones, and I'm like, I don't even want to be Davy Jones. I like Davy Jones, but, you know.
I've more or less buried Dan in my life, and I want to stay away from the negativity. So, Danny, good luck. Goodbye. I don't acknowledge you. And here we are at Ches's.
Well. Hey, come on, Mickey, get with it. Well, tonight what we're doing is I'm getting together with the other vocalists in the Missing Links. Tonight's one of our first. Actually, this will only be our second time rehearsing.
But Ches and David, by the way, have never met, and I think they're going to hit it off real good.
David has just arrived, and I just arrived. Hi, Chelsea. How are you, Mr.
Come on, bro.
We let it slip by our hands before, and it was personality differences, but this time we're coming out wiser. Kind of like when you're a kid and you mess up and you get a second chance at something. We feel this is our second chance.
Yeah.
And so, and it is the only one of its kind. We're the only group doing this in America.
For me, it's a happy feeling to play with a couple of guys who can play and don't have their heads up their collective asses like some of my ex-Missing Links buddy.
Now we have a direction, whereas before, nobody was listening to anybody. They would all talk back to Jimmy. They would all talk back to me. It was fighting. It was discord. Yeah.
You know who you are.
You know who you are.
The attitude of most of the Missing Links was, oh, let's dress up like them, and that's it. You know, oh, we'll crack a few jokes, and there's Peter and Mike and Davey and Mickey, and we've done our job and pay us the money. Singing accountants, which I will get into much more later. Okay, everybody hit a G. 1, 2, 3. You can come down a little. Yeah, just so it's barely there. Maybe a little more up for you. Okay, This is the first ever rehearsal of Head.
Maybe a little louder. Screw it up a little bit.
Take the last train to Clarksville and I'll meet you at the station. You can be by 4:30 cause I made your reservation. Don't be slow. Oh no no no. Oh no no no. And I don't know if I'm ever coming home. Take the last train to Clarksville. I'll be waiting at the station. We'll have time for coffee later. Oh no no no. Oh no no no. But the main thing, you know, this Steel is a vocal band.
Right.
And one of my big lessons has been to try to like play beneath these tracks. And it's not easy to do. Like the first thing you want to do is like as soon as it gets a little tense, it's like, whoop, let's go.
Yeah.
But I think we're in good shape in this.
From the top. Let's try that one more time. That feels pretty good. That sounds good. We'll talk a little more about the keys. Maybe layout of the first third and then come in with all that. You're going over him and I'm going under him.
Yeah, but I shouldn't even be, well, by the record, I should.
Fuck the record.
Okay.
But I think if people come and see us and have a great time and, oh, they're funny and this and that and the other, and then maybe they go see the other one and they go, they've got the shirts. I mean, who would you want to, would you go and want to see a group you really entertained you or some group that got the shirts or whatever? Because it would be the difference between a rusty Volkswagen that barely runs and a solid gold Cadillac. Solid gold, easy action.
That's right.
So not at all. Let them form it. Let them form an all-black Monkees group, that plays polka versions. I mean, I'll go see it. I won't pay, but no competition at all.
We actually had 1 or 2 rehearsals after that, and then it just broke up. That was that. Who cares? Big deal. You're fucking missing links. Big deal. It's broken up. Go on. Who cares? It's just it's not that big of a deal. There's more important things in life to worry about than that shit.
There you have it, folks.
I thought I had a pretty fun, amazing, or what I tried to have others believe, was a fun, fulfilled life of carefree partying and rock and roll and chasing women and just going where the action was. And there came a point where I had gotten so out of control with just living carefree. I lost a job out of the deal, eventually got drunk as a skunk and wrecked a friend's car, another thing that I wasn't really concerned with at the time. Wrapped it around a tree and was hospitalized, and that resulted in a drunk driving charge, which I was facing jail time for. And then not long after that, my brother, who I was living with at the time, decided that he had had enough of life, so he swallowed some poison. So at that point, I had no brother, no house, no car, lost my license, I was facing jail. I didn't really have anywhere to go. So life was not good and I had gone to sleep at nights praying that I wouldn't wake up so I wouldn't have to endure another day of this hell which I had made for myself and I didn't want to live up to. I managed to get sober a few years ago, about 3 years ago, and everything, life in general, became brighter, particularly the arts themselves, music and art. Colors just seem so much more interesting, a face, people, music, sounds are more dynamic. Everything has such a value these days.
I first heard Priest with my brother, my older brother Dave, who is one of the ultimate metalheads. The minute that we heard on the radio that Judas Priest was going to be at the Palace, we dropped everything, my brother and I. Then he was driving then. So we went right down to the Palace, got our tickets. We were front row balcony. I made a banner of the Metallion, and I'll never forget, I made it out of a bed sheet. We all stood up and we held it up. And all I can remember is Rob Halford looking up at us and going, just like that. And it was awesome.
The story of Tim Owens is pretty amazing.
Tim Owens was in a band called British Steel.
British Steel.
He's got
British
the range.
Steel. Yep. There you go.
A Judas Priest tribute from Akron, Ohio. I think they were based out of.
He idolized Rob Halford.
Tim Owens' dream was way back when he was in junior high school. His bedroom was full of priests, and all he talked about was priests.
He is Rob Halford.
If you were to play both of them, you wouldn't be able to tell the difference.
From what I understand, a couple of girls videotaped him playing in a Judas Priest tribute band, and they sent a tape to KK Downing.
One of the girls called him and said that she had a videotape he had to see because Priest was looking for a singer. They said they thought he was lip syncing. I personally didn't think it was that close.
Those guys jumped right on it. I guess they flew him out somewhere and everything, brought him in the studio, and he got into one line of I think it was Victim of Changes.
Victim of Changes is, I think, the Judas Priest song.
They said, how about Victim of Changes? And I guess he sang the first line of the song, and the note that he hit was just really impressive in their eyes.
Whiskey woman, don't you know that you are driving me insane?
And he hit it, nailed it dead on, and that's all it took.
And they hired him like right on the spot.
Boom, and here he is. He is Ripper Owens, Judas Priest.
Now him, I don't know how the hell that guy feels. I mean, one minute he's in a tribute band, just doing the everyday Joe Schmo thing, and bang, he's in Judas Priest.
Tim Owens, Ripper, used to work here. This is my t-shirt from last night. Ripper Owens on it. Go Ripper. I'm gonna keep that. I'm gonna wash it.
Tim would go upstairs, look at what supplies were needed, and then he'd come down here and, say for instance he might need some yellow postcards for the 9th floor, so he'd grab those, or some paper here, notepad paper for the attorneys. They use a lot of that. He'd grab, pretty much any of the supplies. Our stationery is a big item, so he would grab stationery. Or when he came in one day and he signed in the guest book, and he signed it Tim Owens, Judas Priest, so that was kind of neat. I'll hold on to that for a while. And then I also have a golf card that I had him sign for me. I told him since now he's famous.
God bless him. He got the American dream. He got his dream come true.
I guess he's either got a Lamborghini or a Ferrari. Playboy Channel, that's what they always say. We have the Playboy Channel on our tour bus. I would have liked the shot. There's a number of singers that could have done the job. I've been told that I could, and I feel pretty confident I actually could. I could definitely impress them. It's got to be 1,000 times more intense than the way I feel just imagining being surrounded by the rest of Judas Priest, and it's definitely got to be a trip. I couldn't even imagine. I wish I could, and I would love to have his role, but to have all the people and love you after when you're trying to fill the shoes of somebody that everybody thought was nearly impossible to fill.
We spent about a month looking for a new gene. We found them. Not excited at all about something that Kiss.
They flew me in from Hawaii to become their Gene Simmons. They unfortunately lost their Gene Simmons to unfortunate circumstances.
Is that cool?
When Val told me what he had in mind, I flipped. I mean, it's my hero. I don't know, it's like, I don't mean to be blasphemous, but it's like if you were to be God, you know, how would you feel if you could portray God?
Tomorrow's our big show over at the Cruise in Merced. And
the big sold-out show.
we got a whole bunch of last-minute things to fix. Like, I think at one show, it lost a tooth, so we had to glue that in and wipe away blood. And finally asked Andy, well, what are we gonna do about, you know, costume and stuff? And he said, well, he's gonna be selling his. I had to purchase it to keep it going because I think that it would be worth it.
And he was very happy to find out that I had become sober from some of the problematic drugs that I was using. What was the question? Yeah, I think the pressure really started after I got the pictures because they looked so damn good. You know, I mean, they really looked like Kiss. I was very impressed and immediately worried that I wasn't going to be able to fill Andy's shoes.
If Dave doesn't work out, I seriously don't know what our future is. It's going to be really hard to wake up tomorrow morning and maybe realize that there might not be a band.
And that night, Val and I just sat and watched Kiss films, and the next morning we woke up and played Kiss songs all day long. I was still thinking, man, it's 21 songs, I gotta have them done by tomorrow. Well, I'll be wearing Andy's Destroyer outfit. I kind of feel weird. I kind of feel weird wearing his costume and taking his place.
Suck it in. Where the heck? What's going on here? Okay, that's got to go in front. Hold on.
What's the problem, Val?
The string was in the way.
Val, what is wrong?
Lift your shirt.
I mean, it's not an engineering thing.
I can't get that one snap.
All right, forget it.
No.
I need to breathe fire at the end of Rock and Roll Night also.
Yeah, you're gonna breathe fire. Okay. So it'll be like, all right, while that's going on, there'll be a sequence of jumps that I do there, up to 10.
Well, Don's my pyro guy, and he's going to have the wet towel in case of unfortunate incident. And like I said, the ceiling is probably a 10-foot ceiling. One of my smallest flames is about 12 feet. So we're going to get a good deal of rollage over the ceiling.
How about this, Dave?
No, Val. It's going to roll a good 8 to 10 feet across the ceiling, dude. Trust me, it ain't going to be that big of a deal, dude.
You fucking breathe fire plenty of time. Oh, I trust you. But at the same time, your voice show. And I've seen Patchy, he's done it a million times, man. It's no big deal. Ceilings like this all the time, ain't nothing gonna happen, man. Tripping with luggage.
It says line patch, preamp out.
But I can tell you right now, personally, Dave's freaking. He's trying to be cool, but he's freaking out. This is his first show. He's freaking.
You guys can see how he's just sitting there acting like he's, you know, better than everyone else. So this is like a family. Kiss has always been about a very cohesive group, and he's always talking about how, you know, one for all and all for one. Yeah, like him, he was trying to tell me how to breathe fire, you know, and like, well, you know, when you've done this a few times, you know, like, what the fuck? You know, I probably played 10 times as many fucking shows as he has.
Need some bass up here.
Absolutely not. I personally can't hear any bass whatsoever.
Okay, very good.
Need more bass.
Okay.
Hey, get this on, Phil. This fucking sucks. Sound sucks, period.
Does it sound all right to you, Robert?
It sounded a lot better than you think it did.
Yeah, well,
Because we're here in the house mix, too.
Right. We have spent all day
It is now 5:11. I just did a sound check. It sounded like fucking shit. And I gotta be convinced that it was good. And it's not good. It stinks. We're doing it again. I don't want to do it again. Simple as that.
Jake, why do you always have to have an attitude?
Yeah, well, that's what you think, that I always gotta have an attitude, but yeah, well, man, you can always, if you feel like you can straighten me out, please do. If you feel like you need to straighten me out, please do. No, I'm not gonna keep it to myself because I'm going on stage too. I got to play too.
Keep it to your fucking self. Do you
I'm
have
not
to
gonna
yell
keep
it
it to
out
my
in the
fucking
club?
self. Hey, I don't give a fuck about that bullshit.
You don't give a fuck about anything.
Sure, pretty much don't. When it comes to, we're standing around supposed to be playing and paying all this fucking money for what? To sound like shit? You guys can be pussies, not me.
Look straight at me.
Gene Simmons has always been about power and control, being larger than life. People like me, I don't feel I've had a lot of control in the past over my life. Being abused as a child, you feel a loss of control. And you feel a real sense of badness about yourself. You feel small, you feel insignificant. Part of the reason I like to act is because you have a control over the role that you're playing. To be big and powerful and confident in who you are, you know, to be able to hold your head up high and do things that are, I don't know, noticeable and special. Well, as an actor, I've had that sort of psychosis of losing yourself in a character. Val first informed me of this, that, you know, watch for that, because it's very possible to start believing that you're Gene Simmons and losing sight of yourself. And that's a spooky thing. And if you've got any doubts about yourself, or if you're not really sure of who you are, that would be very easy to do.
Not really honest.
Okay. My codpiece. It is now 20 to 9. The opening band ends at 9, and we go on about 9:15 to 9:30, depending on how long it takes them to clear the stage.
Keep closed. That's not
boy.
keep closed. That's open.
Okay, shake your head. Tell me how it feels.
Oh, it feels like it's gonna come right off.
Okay, well we got. I have like 50 more in here.
It's the back.
But does it feel better?
No.
It's the back.
I'm sorry,
it feels like it's coming off.
Yeah, it's the whole thing of the top not pulling the cap off my head. I'm preparing to super glue my wig to my head in order to give a more genuine performance of Gene Simmons without the wig flying off my head. Super glue.
Oh, okay.
Yes. How big of a spot?
I'm just gonna put like 2 spots. Believe me, it won't hurt you.
This is crazy.
It's not gonna hurt you.
I know it's not until I take it off.
We're gonna get going now, so let's rock and roll.
First thing I see is my butt. Okay, let's do it. Tell them to start fogging the stage now, and we're gonna come out.
Hang on a sec. This song?
All right, everybody, put it in.
Come on.
Everybody put it in there. Let's go have a good one. Let's do it, brother. Now we gotta do this one, you guys. For Dave.
We're just about ready to go on, and Jay goes, "Okay, let's get together here, man," and we all put our hands in, and we're like, "Okay, let's." And it was just like, "Whoa, you gotta be kidding me," you know? All right. I think the tension just went, whew, and everybody was just, "Let's rock."
For Dave.
God bless you guys. Shit going.
Right on, man.
Let's tear it.
Alright, Mercer! You are the best! You got the best!
Let's do it. Go, Jimmy.
Larger than life, salute to Kiss!
hear this, drummer, drummer, you know, and I look over and this guy's going, you're Peter Criss, you are Peter Criss, you know, and I looked and I went, wow.
It's a trip, you know, you look out into the audience and they're looking at you, but you're not you, you're someone else, and it's a weird connection because like when I'm looking at this person, they're looking at Kiss or Ace or whoever, you know, and I'm looking out there going, I'm trying to be Ace, so I hope you're buying this, you know?
It's easy for us to sink into, you know, it would be easy in a sense for us to sink into believing I am so-and-so. But, you know, deep down we know who we are. You know, you gotta know who you are, otherwise you shouldn't be doing it. Well, otherwise there's one way to find out who you are.
You know, at first, you know, we thought Andy was, you know, actually the backbone of the whole band. Last night, after seeing Dave do his Gene, I knew that we can move on without Andy. Right now, definitely, the sky's the limit. I mean, there's no stopping us.
You want cash? Ask me how I fucking feel. Ask me how I fucking feel now.
I think it goes beyond being Andy's costume. It's the badge of Gene Simmons. You know, it's almost like carrying the torch for Andy, even after he has lost his desire to be Gene Simmons. Last night, I'll tell you what, I was fucking Gene Simmons. I was Gene last night.
Fate is destiny, and everybody has destiny, and no way can you tell what your destiny is going to be. You can set out on a course and try to head in one way in this business and go, I'm going to be a rock star, I'm going to be the greatest drummer in the world, and I'm doing it through the realms of being in a tribute band. Well, who would have guessed, I'd be doing this anyway. I'll just do whatever it takes.
seems. Wake up, listen to my warning. Can't you see, love is everything. Wake up, listen to my warning. Can't you see, love is everything.